This is a dessert with a Belgian flavor, Cuberdon Ice Cream. I will be pairing its unique, sugary sweet profile with a bright raspberry gel and a classic tangy lemon mousse to counter the sweetness. I'm starting with the Cuberdon Ice Cream. The Cuberdon, or Gentse neuzeke, little nose from Ghent, is a Belgian specialty. A cone-shaped candy with a hard sugar crust and a gooey, sweet raspberry flavored center. If you cannot find Cuberdons, just use raspberry ice cream instead. For ingredients, I'm using 375 grams of whole milk, 125 grams of heavy cream, 125 grams of Cuberdon candy, 100 grams of sugar, 4 egg yolks and a pinch of salt. In a saucepan, I bring the milk and cream to a gentle simmer over medium heat, stirring occasionally. Once simmering, I add the Cuberdon and stir until they are completely dissolved. In a separate bowl, I whisk the egg yolks, sugar and a little bit of salt vigorously until the mixture is pale and thick. The moment you add the sugar to the egg yolks, you need to start whisking immediately, or else the sugar will burn the egg yolks. I temper the eggs by slowly pouring half of the warm milk and cream mixture over the egg yolks while continuously whisking. I return the entire mixture back to the saucepan and warm over low heat. I whisk until the mixture starts to thicken, which should happen around 84C on 83F. You can check by drawing a line over the back of a spoon, and if the line holds, it is ready. It's important to not let the mixture boil, as this will curdle the yolks. I cover the surface with plastic wrap to prevent the skin from forming and let it cool before chilling the mixture completely in the refrigerator. Once thoroughly chilled, I pour the base into my ice cream machine and churn it until it reaches a soft serve consistency. I transfer the churned ice cream to the freezer for a final set before serving. Next part is raspberry gel. This component is key for cutting through the sweetness of the ice cream and providing a vibrant contrast. I begin by preparing raspberry puree. I use frozen raspberries, which I thaw before blending. This puree still contains a lot of seeds, so I pass it through a fine mesh sieve, using the back of my spoon to push the puree through, ensuring a smooth result. Next, I thoroughly combine 2 grams of agar into 100 grams of sugar, to prevent the agar from clumping once it hits the liquid. Next, I combine the agar sugar mixture with 200 grams of raspberry puree and 25 grams of lemon juice, about half a lemon. For the agar to activate, you need to boil it, so I heat the mixture over low-medium heat, stirring occasionally until it reaches a boil. I simmer it for a full 2 minutes to ensure the agar is fully activated. I pour the mixture into a shallow tray and transfer it after cooling to the fridge to set completely. Once firm, I simply blend it in a tall beaker using an immersion blender. Until it becomes a beautifully smooth, vibrant gel. I transfer everything to a piping bag and place it in the refrigerator for later. Now for the lemon mousse, light and airy. I take 3 sheets of gelatin, this is 5 grams, and soak them in cold water until soft. In a saucepan, I add 50 grams of butter, the juice of 2 lemons. $50 grams of sugar, I turn the heat to low and slowly melt the butter. Once melted, I add 2 egg yolks into the warm mixture and heat it gently, stirring continuously until it thickens slightly. Once thickened, I squeeze the excess water from the gelatin and stir it into the warm lemon base until fully dissolved, and set it aside to cool slightly. In a separate bowl, I loosen 250 grams of platte kaas. That's a traditional Belgian fresh cheese, also known as fromage blanc. As a substitute, you can also use Greek yogurt. In another bowl, I whip 200 grams of heavy cream until it reaches soft peaks. I whisk the slightly cooled lemon mixture into the fresh cheese. Finally, I gently fold the half whipped cream into the cheese and lemon mixture. I then transfer the lemon mousse to the fridge to chill and set completely. I begin plating by taking the raspberry gel and creating a large dot, which I smear out over the plate using a spoon. I remove the Cuberdon ice cream from the freezer and allow it to come to temperature for about 15 minutes until it reaches the ideal scooping consistency. I form a canal with the Cuberdon ice cream and carefully place it onto the plate. Using 2 spoons, I form a canal with the chilled lemon mousse and carefully place it onto the plate. For the final presentation, I garnish the plate with a fresh mint bud and a scattering of fresh raspberries to add color and brightness. Enjoy!